Next, I'm going to demonstrate how to use the symbol panel and the symbol sprayer tools. And so here I am in my early file from the beginning of the semester. I'm just going to copy this object here. Then I'm going to bring it over into a new artboard that I'll start here. Symbols and sprayer. Okay, and so I also want a new layer for this, so I'll create a new layer and I'll name it Symbols and paste that image into this artboard. Okay, once that's over here, you can do whatever you want to do with it and then turn it into a symbol. I'm just going to drop it right over here. You can see I've already done that once. I'll just drop that into my symbols panel. Okay. Now once that's in there, you can use it. You can rename it like I did. You can use it with help of these tools over here that kind of looks like a little spray can. Symbol sprayer, Shift S for short. And it kind of works like this. So if you just click, it'll repeat that. It'll repeat that image. Now, if you look at it in outline view, it disappears because it's almost as if it's not really there. It's an image that is sourced back to this image, a kind of a alias copy. You might think of it that way. If I try to size it, I can resize it and even stretch it and scale it and stuff like that, no problem. Okay, I can rotate it, and that's not a problem. But as far as trying to edit, doing any fine editing to it, it's just as if it's not really there. As I look at it here in outline view, it's as if it's not really there. Okay, now you may be wondering, what good is an image like that? Well, it's really used for making multiples, lots of multiples of things. And so I'm just going to start again with the sprayer and show you that if you click and hold, you can just create a multitude of these objects really quickly like that. Now, you may not have a use for that, but then again, maybe instead of this particular drawing, maybe it's a regular star that you want to make a whole sky full of stars. Okay, you can. I'm just deleting that. You can double click on it, and you can adjust things like the intensity. The intensity has to do with how quickly and how many replications of that image you get from your sprayer. And there's a bunch of other settings here that you can play with and a bunch of other tool options that we'll look at here together. Okay, now that I've slowed it down, you can see that it makes them much slower. And you can create an environment with it. Each time you click a single. If you click and hold and move, you're making multiples. All right. So I'm just going to start with this as a kind of a starting point and take you through all these other tools here. Now, there is a little tear off where you can tear this off and have that available so you can flip back and forth between them. I think that's probably a good use for this feature. I don't use that very much on other things. Sometimes the tools underneath are just not that necessary. You can get them other ways. Okay. But for this, that is a pretty good way to adjust these images. For instance, the second tool is called a shifter tool, and it sometimes doesn't do a lot, but what it'll do is just kind of move these in really subtle ways, kind of shift them around. You can pull them this way. If they're not very closely spaced, the movement on it here is really slow, as you can see. Now, that might be partly because I changed the intensity of it. Let's put it back up to 8 and see if it has any different kind of a feeling. Okay, yeah, it's moving it quite a bit more now. So you can rearrange those that way, and I'm just clicking and dragging over these and trying to get it to move. Now you can rearrange them. They do come in as a group. Again, if I look at it in outline view, it's like there's nothing there. Okay, but they are grouped. If you want to scale them, you can. Hold the Shift key down if you don't want them to change, their proportions. You don't have to. You can change their proportions if you want to. Okay. All right. So here we are back on this. Remember, you can always double-click on the tool to get this interaction. There's other options there, like if you're using a graphics tablet, you can adjust for pressure and for other things there as well. Stylus wheel that's on the stylus on your graphics tablet, and other things there as well that you might want to just experiment with. Okay, I'm just going to leave it where it is there. Diameter is just the size of it. You can change the size of your brush. It's like a brush tool, and you can also use the left bracket and the right bracket tool like we've done before. And it affects this in different ways. With a bigger brush, it moves more objects and that sort of thing. With a smaller brush, it sort of focuses on one a little bit more. That's the second tool, the one that's called a shifter. The symbol scruncher is also slow acting unless you've got a big pattern of them. I'll make my brush a little bigger, and you can see what it does. It sort of pulls them towards wherever I click. And if they're not closely spaced, it's really kind of hard to see much going on here. But it's pulling them closer together. Now I believe you can hold the Option key down and force them apart. You can see them moving apart. Okay, pulling them back together. Okay, and the length of time that you hold that, it seems to increase. And on the next click, it replicates that same kind of movement. Okay, there it's slow. And Option key, and it's getting a little faster. On the next click, it moves a little faster. That's without the Option key. Okay, so that's called a scruncher. Okay. By the way, you can find out more information about these again by double-clicking on the tool that's in the toolbar. And as you pick each one of these, it'll tell you how to kind of control it. Okay, now, the next one is the spinner. Proportional resizing. Resizing affects density. Hold down the Option key to decrease the size of the symbol instance. Hold down the Shift key to do density preserving scaling. Okay. So this next one is the sizer, and if I just hold it over and press, it makes the one that it's pointing at get bigger. If you have a big brush, it does it to multiples. If you have a smaller brush, it'll mainly focus on the one that you're pointing at. Okay, big brush, and it does a group of them. If you hold the Option key down, it makes them small. Okay, so earlier I said you couldn't really resize them, or you could resize them, but with this you can also resize, and they sort of stay, I don't know, sort of in a relationship of size that way, depending on your brush size. Okay, so there's that one. The next one over is the spinner. Let's see what the spinner does. The spinner sometimes is pretty subtle too. Let's see that little arrow. I'll zoom in on that so you can see that. There's a little arrow that pops up, and it'll spin this in that direction. Now with a 5-point, it starts a little hard sometimes to see that it's doing anything. There you can see it. Yeah. If I go this way, and it's bringing it back around this way, it'll do it to whichever one you point at. And if you have a big brush, it'll do it to a group of them. Sort of in different ways. So it's a way to make it look not quite so repetitive. So the stars have their own angles. Okay. Now again, to find out more about it, double click here. It says there's no shortcuts for it. Okay. For this next one, stainer. This one will change colors of these things. Hold down the Option key to decrease the amount of colorization. Okay. Hold down the Shift key to maintain the tint intensity of the previous stained instance. Okay, so we'll see if I can figure that out. Okay, I'm going to bring up my swatch panel here, and where I've got orange ones, let's have some that are green. Okay, and so I'm going to make this into a green. And it said you can slow it down with the Option. Yeah, it's slowing it down to nothing. Okay, let's see here. Again, I've forgotten my commands. Option key to decrease the amount. Shift key to maintain the tint intensity. So Shift key. Yeah, do I have green still? Okay. And you can undo it with the Option key and bring it back to the original color. And it's slowing it down so much that I can't really tell the difference. That one did several, and you can see it does kind of have a different approach to the ones that are on the outside of the circle. I'm going to make my brush smaller, and I'm going to Option key and bring back a little of the orange there, and then insert a little green, and try to get a variety of stuff here. Let's see if I can do it. And you can see how it makes it different kinds of intensity. You can cut that back here, and it acts a lot slower if I remember correctly. Okay, and a shorter click will bring it back, but slower. There it is. You can see it starting to act. Really short click, and it's just a little bit of green going in. Click it again, and there's a little bit more. You can make it any color. Let's have a maroon one. Yeah, it went all the way to purple. And you can back it up with the Option key and take some of the color back out. I think, there we go. There you go. So you can do all that with the stainer. I like the stainer. It's fun. Make something here yellow. Okay, make this one yellow. Really yellow. Okay, so you can have them all different colors, you can have them all in different directions, you can have them all different sizes. Screener makes it look transparent. So let's see if I can make one of them look transparent. There we go, that one looks a little bit transparent. Yeah, and you can see the others showing through there now. Okay, transparent this one. You can see this one starting to show through. There we go. Okay, so where they overlap, you can actually have them so that they show through. You can undo some of that by holding the Option key down. It makes it more opaque. Okay, so maybe you come up with a really great idea on how to make that, and you can go back and redo some of these if you feel like, yeah, it'd be great if there was one that was really big. You can make it really big. And it'd be great if it was moved over a little bit. And if it was, I don't know, spinning in a different direction. Okay, strange kinds of controls here. Okay. Scruncher. Not getting it to do much now. Okay, there's one last one. It's called a symbol styler, and it works along with the graphic styles panel. And we haven't talked a whole lot about graphic styles, but there are some that are loaded in there. You can find others in your library. By the way, that's also true with the symbols. There's a little library button right here, and you can find all different kinds of other things that will work as symbols. Okay, but this one, the graphic styles, if I pick a graphic style here, I'll pick this one. And you can see it's got a pattern in it. As I click here, there's a pattern starting to come into that. Okay, an Option key, and it takes some of the pattern back away. There's a soft gradient in a gray. And you can see it kind of working on that one. There's a blue gradient. Okay. And again, if you want to find other symbols, click on that little library button there. And let's try this one. And we'll put the little texture in that one. Doesn't seem to be working. Okay, let's see here. How about this one? Seem to be still getting the same effect from that as that last deal here. If I put those away. I know, maybe it's this. Maybe I need to put this one up here and choose it. Anything? Just trying, I think. Didn't really work. Let's see what I can do about something over here. Anyway, you may have to take my word for it. That's the way it's supposed to work. It's just wanting to turn them black, I think. Colored pencil. Yeah, I ended up just making it black. So I don't know. These are supposed to work as far as your graphic styles. Let's see, that one didn't work so well. Let's try another one. About just some straight textures. I've used these before, so maybe they'll work here. Let's try and oh, it's stuck on something else with colored pencils. So yeah, I may have to. Yeah, I think what I've got done here is I've got too much going on. Well, while I figure that, I'm going to let you try to work on some of that your own and see if it works for you.